Aloha. Good morning. It's Haunani with my channel, Where's Your Aloha? With the next episode of Our Rights to Self-Determination, a Hawaiian manifesto. Hey, hope you guys had a good weekend. I'm a little out of it today because I was awoken at 3 a.m. by some jerk shooting his firearm, partying in the middle of the night. So you know what I did? I turned on my stereo and I blasted all the Pele Oli, and guess what? It got quiet real fast. People need to remember where they are. This is Wau Akua. Don't be shooting your gun up here. Plus, I got 18 dogs. Hey, again, thanks for joining me this morning. Hope you're going to like, share, and subscribe to my channel and share this video. It's hilarious. I was saying on Facebook this morning, I've been posting the video and I get maybe 2 to 5 likes. And I post a video of my rubber boots, not even my legs in the boots, but just the rubber boots. 500 likes. What? Maybe my boots should read the book for you. Anyway, the book is called Our Rights to Self-Determination. It's a Hawaiian manifesto by Ann Keala Kelly. Now, I hear rumblings that people have an issue with the word manifesto, which is really dumb. Manifesto is a Latin word, and I'm going to read you from the Merriam-Webster dictionary. It's related to manifest. And what are we manifesting, people? We are manifesting deoccupation and daily sovereignty, getting our lives back, getting our Hāʻena back, getting our lands, resources. That's what a manifesto is. You'll hear sometimes the airlines people will talk about a manifest. That's a list of people on the plane. You'll hear about, different types of manifestos, like the Communist Manifesto, which I actually read, and parts of it in German. And it's very fascinating how human beings can take a perfectly great manifest and turn it into something hideous. And yes, I'm waving my pearls around. I was trying to wear them for you today, but it's too hot. But I still need something to clutch on because today's chapter is really heavy. So a manifesto occurs in English as a noun, verb, and or adjective. Of these, the adjective, which means readily perceived by the senses, is the oldest, dating back to the 14th century. So perhaps the most well-known statement of this sort is the Communist Manifesto, written in 1848 by Karl Marx, to outline the platform of the Communist League. Martin Luther King wrote a manifesto for peace. And so it's not really that scary of a word. So those of you who are saying, oh, we should just take the word manifesto out. No. I don't know about you, but I'm not seeing anywhere any kind of direction towards deoccupation. You got Hawaiians in Honolulu playing both sides of the fence, and they're talking about sovereignty, but then they're appointing Kai Kahele, head of the water protectors, and he's a militarized Hawaiian who, he's been playing that side for so long. And I'm like, what the hell? It's like getting, trying to give therapy to a serial killer, or, putting a serial killer in charge of like a bunch of babies. I don't know. It's really weird how Hawaiians want to put the fox in the hen house. It's crazy. I don't get it. Kai Kahele, born and raised Hawaii, speaks Hawaiian. Brother, you're on the wrong side of the fence. You want to be a water protector. Stop playing both sides. We need to stop thinking that by assimilating, we're going to be able to change them or make them do what we want. No, people, don't you see what's happening? They have more control over us than ever before. And our leadership, leadership and gone, get money, and then sell us under the bus to the military. Look at these guys. Look who are the leaders. And I'm sorry I'm ranting and raving, but the more I think about it, the more ridiculous it's becoming. Because you know what's glaringly missing? True leadership that is making a move towards deoccupation. Because you know why? We could win this. Countries get their sovereignty back. And if you don't think so, I got 2 words for you, South Africa. So don't even say, oh, you'll never get your country back, blah, blah, blah. Because that's bullshit. And it's just an excuse to assimilate further. So I ask you, I'm especially addressing my academia friends today. I've not seen any of you like my videos. What's the matter? What's the matter? Is it awful? If it's awful, please personal message me and tell me, cut you, shut up, how you're doing this is wrong. But no, I think this is striking a chord with you, my academia friends, my leader friends. You're all so quiet. Unless, of course, to tell us Keakua's going to handle it, or there's nothing wrong with sympathizing and honoring colonizers, and on and on and on. So, you know, it took a lot for me to get ready for today's chapter. This thing's pretty triggering, and I've been up since 3 a.m. So we'll get through it, you and me. But just know I'm really upset right now. I was watching, you know, what's going on Twitter and all. You guys, what are you talking about? Why aren't any of you talking about how we could become free? People are like, oh, we have our sovereignty. It was never extinguished. Really? Really? You must have a good place to live, because when I look around, I don't see sovereignty for Hawaiians. I don't. So if you're in that position and you're up there preaching about, oh yeah, how we have our sovereignty, you must be blind. All right, today's chapter, page 52. American Empire and Crown Lands. Hawaii's greatest fortune and misfortune are one and the same. Geography. Sitting like Earth's own precious gemstone in the middle of its largest ocean, Hawaii is the most isolated, peopled archipelago on the planet. When Captain Cook's expedition to colonize Oceania stumbled onto these islands, he and his men were the first to encounter Hawaiians, had with 2 of the most murderous attributes of Western civilization. So they had these things with them: military and disease, or as I like to call it, stink wiener, Western stink wiener. Both would go on to devastate the Hawaiian world. In fact, it's easy to argue that knowingly infecting Hawaiians with diseases would kill them, as Cook and his men did. Biological warfare and acts of genocide. But the British weren't the only white people out to dominate the world. A few months after the U.S. went to war with Spain in 1898, Congress authored the legal fiction of Hawaii's annexation. And President McKinley, who said the taking of Hawaii was America's manifest destiny, signed it like Iago wielding Desdemona's handkerchief, and unleashed the mighty lie that begat more than a century of betrayals. To Hawaiians, McKinley was and always will be a big, fat, lying haole, white person of the highest order. There is a statue of him proudly holding his personal copy of the Treaty of Annexation, quote unquote, in front of a high school in Honolulu that bears his name. Hawaiians scorn him and deride the statue's Emperor's New Clothesian's depiction of him and his fictional treaty, which to our knowledge is the only known treaty annexing Hawaii to the U.S. But McKinley's lie had the long legs of the American empire to hold it up. Settlers, especially white Americans, are offended when told that they are able to live here because of injustices perpetrated against the Hawaiian people beginning in 1893. But there is no other way to speak a devastating truth except to say it. Americans in Hawaii are like the emperor's subjects in that Hans Christian Andersen parable, who, for self-interest, lie out loud about their naked monarch. When the American social, cultural, and economic systems have done to Hawaii, a place that by all accounts ever put to paper was paradise, is steadily to render it nearly void of its life-giving nature. Where once there were farms and fish ponds that sustained millions of Hawaiians over millennia, now there are multi-million-dollar houses, condos, golf courses, hotels, dead reefs, and 95% of everything consumed in Hawaii is shipped in. Yeah, that pineapple you're eating, not from here. Pineapples aren't native. Andola's the devil. Since the American takeover, the largest military command in history has been amassed in Hawaii. Formerly Pacific Command, PACCOM, it was renamed Indo-Pacific Command, U.S. Indo-PACCOM, in 2018 to emphasize the American focus on South Asia. It is the oldest U.S. command, encompassing 52% of the Earth's surface, from the west coast of the U.S. to the west coast of India, from the Arctic to Antarctica. And yes, academics, Sam Ohugon III, handed over our archipelago to the military after it was declared a marine biology. And then he posted videos of himself up there picking opihi. None of us can go over there and get food. But that's now where RIMPAC plays. So I don't think you want to eat food. Because if you've been around here during RIMPAC and see the doo-doo in the water, just disgusting. Most of the land that military madness is parked on top of is the Hawaiian Kingdom's national land. To understand how that is, we should revisit the original sin of the U.S. overthrow and what that did to Hawaiian land titles. And before we revisit the original sin, I want to call your attention, Kanaka, to the struggle happening in Ukraine. So what Russia is engaged in doing to Ukraine is kind of exactly like what the United States of America did to Hawaii, except unlike Russia, the USA had no claim here of any kind, not even a hint, except that we needed to be saved by them, by their theft. So Russia's invading Ukraine, and every morning I watch the news. I watch all the news, every single bit of it. I am not a Democrat or a Republic. I am a socialist, very commie, anarchist-leaning Hawaiian. Because our people were kind of communists, yeah? The state was the government, was the religion, and it ran everything and it worked. If it was to work the way it should work, we should look at ancient Hawaii. So, Russia, they think a claim to Ukraine. And while I'm not condoning what Russia is doing and how they chose to pursue their claim, because in the 21st century, there's diplomacy, right? You don't need to go kill a bunch of babies in hospitals. But actually, the USA did that to us. They didn't kill us in the hospitals. They just helped themselves to all the money left for our health care. So while all these United States media outlets and everyone's screaming, oh, look at Russia trying to steal Ukraine's sovereignty, it's a little bit small kind, the pot calling the kettle really black and destroyed, burnt beyond recognition. America, spelt with 3 Ks. In addition to, as previously mentioned, failing to legally annex Hawaii to the United States during President Cleveland's administration, the so-called provisional government renamed itself the Republic of Hawaii and carried on with the plan to cheat and lie the Hawaiian Kingdom into non-existence. Among the many frauds perpetrated by that entity was the Land Act of 1895, implemented in order to repeal Hawaiian Kingdom laws pertaining to ownership of land, particularly crown lands. The distinction between inalienable crown lands and government lands was done away with. The trader's pen, like a guillotine, simply crossed out the names of Hawaiian ali'i on page after page of land titles. Consolidating the land that way simplified things for the usurpers who dispersed ownership among themselves and others. It also made it easier for the United States to get its mouth around the newly engorged public lands 3 short years later. Now, thinking in my head about this, right? At the time that all this was going on, 99% of Hawaiians were against this, all this shit. Today's Hawaiians, leaders, are cooperating in this shit. Slick, yeah, America. When the U.S. took control in 1898, almost 2 million acres of Hawaii, about 40% of the archipelago, was renamed again. The new legal fiction called these lands ceded, though nothing had ever been ceded. Yet the lie is relentlessly repeated in every school, government agency, and all news and media outlets in Hawaii, often by American lawyers who have made their careers and garnered wealth and social status by disseminating falsehoods as legitimate law. Quote, ceded lands, end quote, is the never-ending psychological tsunami that only ever hits Hawaiian people. The lie is so entrenched that when Hawaiians say crown land and government lands, C&G lands, or national lands, we end up explaining our entire history. And then we have to field questions from people who don't really want to know how intimately involved they are in the removal and erasure of us in our homeland in the present tense. And in Hawaii, the word homeland is loaded. Next up is the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. The book is Our Right to Self-Determination, a Hawaiian Manifesto by Ann Keala Kelly. Self-determination, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, is the determination of one's mind or will by itself towards an object. The action of a people in deciding its own form of government, free determination of statehood, postulated as a right. Please let me know what you think in the in the comments down below, especially my academia friends. You know, I see you commenting on my boots. I got them on Amazon. But how about you do me a solid and let me know what you think about this book. Let's do it. Let's have a convo. I'll put all the links down below. Like, share, subscribe. Please keep sharing. And to those of you that are sharing, mahalo nui loa. I love you. Mwah. I gotta go get to work now. Aloha.